Hello, and welcome to another episode of Morgan's Pop Talks, breaking down the latest in reality TV and pop culture. Another new setup today. We're just trying things. But listen, I did this one 100% by myself because I'm a modern woman. Hello, my husband, David, is out of town on business. He's in Washington State, all the way across the country. And I posted this on my Instagram earlier this week where I was like, does anybody else just get in a really bad mood when your husband is out of town? And everyone was like, you're a newlywed. Like, tell me you're a newlywed without saying you're a newlywed. And here's the thing. Yes, I am technically, although it will be a year in October. Yes, I am technically a newlywed, but also you have to remember that I have long distance PTSD. My husband David and I did long distance for 5 years, and I'm not talking like hop on I-90 and drive for 3 hours and you see each other. I'm talking a 7-hour time difference, work schedules, an ocean between us, an 11-hour flight time to get to him. So I just have like this PTSD where I hate when he goes out of town. I'm all out of whack. I'm also PMSing. So like, it's just God's pointing and laughing at me this week. It's just like, let me just see what you can handle. Let me just see how much I can give you until you crack. And I have to say that I have cracked internally in my mind, but I haven't lashed out on anybody yet, which is, I think, signs of maturity, right? That's how a 31-year-old should act. You might be walking down the street, like silently wanting to murder someone for breathing too loud or popping their gum when I'm running next to them on the treadmill, but I didn't say anything to them, which is what matters. We have a lot to discuss. Let's start with the Pop 3, the biggest headlines in reality TV and pop culture of the week. Let's start with something that happened at the end of last week, and that is Buying Beverly Hills was canceled after 2 seasons. So y'all know Buying Beverly Hills was Mauricio Umansky's real estate reality show that was on Netflix. All of his daughters were on it because they work at the agency, which is Mauricio's company, right? Only 2 seasons. The show focused on luxury real estate in Beverly Hills, the dynamics within the Umansky family, including, like I said, appearances by his daughters. So why? I was pretty shocked about this. According to the press release, the cancellation is believed to be due to underwhelming viewership and mixed reviews, with some critics noting it failed to stand out in the crowded real estate reality TV game, which makes sense. I mean, the reality TV scape for real estate shows is so oversaturated. And when you're specifically on Netflix and you're going up against Selling Sunset, it's just a hard sell. I almost feel like it would have done better if it would have been on Bravo or Peacock because you're already in your arena, right? Like if you're on Peacock or if you're on Bravo, fans already know you. Fans are already interested in your family because they watch your family on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So I don't know if it was just a Netflix thing. I don't know. I can imagine a show like this, especially with this family, would be really expensive to shoot and produce. And I think it just goes to show you that just because you're a Nepo baby doesn't automatically mean that you are successful. I mean, they're successful, like don't get me wrong, but doesn't mean that this show was going to be successful just because everybody, we thought, knew the Umansky name, right? I'm actually pretty sad about it. I really liked season 2, and I've talked about it a lot, how I feel like we got more of the Kyle and Mauricio drama in Buying Beverly Hills than we did the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I'm just thinking of all the storylines that we're going to miss out on. I mean, the TMZ photos of Mauricio kissing a random woman in Mykonos, they were like spotted the very next day, like swimming in some ocean somewhere luxurious in the world. And I'm just like, wow. I can only imagine that Kyle's like snickering to herself a little bit like, haha. You want to try to beat me at my own game? Not today, Maurice. Not today, Mo. This is my turf. Like, I feel like that's how I would be, but I'm also kind of petty. And like I said, at this current moment, PMSing. But I just feel like it did have a lot of potential. And even the daughter's storylines I thought were getting interesting, but it's Dunzo. Also Dunzo, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck Take two. J.Lo filed for divorce earlier this week. She submitted legal documents herself on Tuesday, which is very interesting when you consider that Tuesday was J.Lo and Ben's 2-year wedding anniversary. Talk about being petty. Talk about being petty. J.Lo filing for divorce on the 2-year wedding anniversary. Like, there's no better way to tell somebody, I hate you and I no longer want to be married to you. So she submitted the legal documents herself without a lawyer, right? The filings do not mention a prenup, and sources confirm there isn't one, which everybody is kind of like, there's no prenup, because in California, that means that any earnings or profits they made over the last 2 years, they both did a bunch of movies, is 50-50 property, right? I almost feel like they don't care. Like, they're grown enough where they're like, my money is my money, your money is your money, because they both make probably the same amount of money. They're both rich. Like, I'm not going to be trying to steal your money. You're not going to be trying to steal my money. I'm going to hope that that's the case anyways. This is J.Lo's 4th marriage and Ben's 2nd. And in her divorce filing, she has waived spousal support for herself and requested the same for Affleck. See what I mean? Like, she's like, I don't need it. I don't need your money. I don't need your spousal support. I have enough money on my own. So I feel like they're just good there. Are we surprised? No, obviously, because there's been a whole bunch of debacles with the house, right? They put their Beverly Hills home up on the market. Ben just purchased a new house in Brentwood, and J.Lo has been looking at houses too. Rumors are they've been trying to hash things out for months, but it gets so toxic between them that they end up not even speaking to each other. So I'm always a big advocate for second chances, because I am living proof that you can have a second chance, succeed. But like in the case of Bennifer 2.0, it just wasn't the case. It was a bit of a fever dream. It was a bit of a stretch. I don't know. I have a lot of opinions, but I also just feel like in the pop culture space, people are so quick to villainize the women, right? Like, even thinking back to the Blake Lively situation, now the J.Lo situation. And it's like, it's easy to say that because, I'm a woman and I don't want to sit here and like villainize the women. I will say, like, look, I'm not, okay? But I feel like the women put themselves out there more, so people are quicker to nitpick them, right? Like Blake Lively and J.Lo, they're just out and about more, doing girly things. Like, they're more, I don't want to say well known, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? Like Justin Baldoni, where does he even go during the day? Does he have an Equinox membership? Like, the only place that Ben Affleck goes as Dunkin' Donuts, and he always looks miserable doing so. So we're just not that interested in him, right? But I'm not going to sit here and say that it's one person's fault over the other, because I don't know, but we all saw this coming. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about Jax Taylor leaving his inpatient treatment, returning to the Valley. So there's been a lot of rumors this week about Jax potentially being fired from the Valley, Sheena and Lala coming into film. We're going to discuss it all. So let's start with this. A representative for the Valley confirmed to People on Monday Jax has spent the last 30 days in treatment and will be heading back home later this week. It's been an emotional month for him, and he's most looking forward to spending time with his son. The outlet also said Jax Taylor intends to open up about his inpatient stay when he's comfortable, and audiences can expect an emotional new season. So there were all these rumors that Jax was being fired from the Valley because he was in this inpatient treatment, right? And that Lala and Sheena were there to save the day to replace him because he's no longer filming. I just have a hard time believing, quite honestly, all of this. First of all, the firing, right? Can you fire someone for getting mental health treatment in the middle of a season? Like, I don't know, not a lawyer, but just kind of sounds a little bit like a lawsuit waiting to happen. That and Jax and Brittany are the Valley. I'm sorry. They're the ones that pitched it to the network. They're the ones that riled us all up to get us to watch it again when they announced their separation. So I have a hard time believing that they would fire Jax. Then you had this thing put out there that Lala and Sheena are coming to save the day in Jax's absence. And I'm like, you have 12 other people on your cast. If you need Lala and Sheena to come film because Jax, one person, was away for 30 days, you have other problems in the show. And there are people on that show that can deliver. They might not be seasoned reality TV veterans, but like Jesse and Michelle, we're here for it. Brittany, Kristen, hello, like we're going to be okay. Now, that's not to say that they're not filming with them at all. I don't know if they are or if they're not, but the idea that they're like these saviors on white horses, like coming to save I just really, you guys, if that's the case, they need to fire some of other people because they're probably spending too much money. That's the way I feel. We'll see how it all plays out. Let's get into this week's deep dive. And of course, it has to be the Love Island reunion. We were all waiting with bated breath for the Love Island USA reunion. It's been about a month since the season finale. We left the villa with 4 strong couples. There's a lot to discuss. There's been a lot of fallout. There's been makeups. There's been breakups. So, of course, we're going to get all into it. Let me just say, people are expressing some disappointment from the Love Island reunion. And was I disappointed? A little bit, yeah. And I'll tell you later in the episode what I think they really missed. But I also didn't have high expectations. I almost feel like this might just be a hot take, but I almost feel like reunions are never as good as you think that they're going to be, and that they're also way drawn out. I feel that way about a lot of reunions. I mean, when it's reunion season on one of the Housewives shows and it's 4 parts, I'm like sitting there being like, bro, this could have been an email, which is what everyone's saying here. And even like the first 20 minutes was just small talk. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, did they not take like broadcast media one-on-one? You got to hook somebody within 3 seconds. Otherwise, they're tuning out. They're leaving the building. And we're having 20 minutes of like, so, Harrison, what's it like being a bombshell? Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares about what it was like to be a bombshell for Harrison to come in with 5 seconds left of the show. So that, I think, was their first mistake. And that was the first 20 minutes of the show. But we really get into the first big issue, and that is Kendall and Nicole. And this has blown up. It's gone cuckoo bananas. It's all over the place. They broke up as of earlier this week, but when the reunion was filmed, they were very much so still together. So it all hinges on this video, this leaked video. And let me just say something right here. I had people in my comment section this week being like, oh, you're not going to say what the video is? No, I'm not. Google. Do you own a phone? I know you do because you're trolling me in my DMs, because I'm not going to sit here and explicitly say what the video is because it's explicit. Right? Like, leave me alone. Use your brain cells for 5 seconds. And if you really want to see it, go search it on TikTok. There's the PMS thing. It's coming out. It's coming out. I said I didn't lash out. That was my first lash out of the week. Okay. So I still think I'm doing pretty good. Anyways, so it's about the video being leaked. And you could tell that Kendall really didn't want to talk about it. He was very nervous. He was shaking, and then Nicole just kind of blurts it out. Everybody's seen the video. We all know, and blah, right? And I was just like, oh gosh, here we go. I don't want to do this. And according to Nicole, the root of her issue with Kendall is that he lied about the origin of the video. He said, I recorded this video of myself years ago and sent it to an ex, somebody that I trusted. Well, Nicole later found out that that wasn't the case, that he actually, this is what he said, now actually filmed it in the hotel room while he was waiting to go on the villa for Love Island, right? And it was a person that he matched with on a dating app. So Nicole is really hung up on this lie, and she's very upset, right? Like, you can't lie to my face. And after listening to the Viall Files, painfully, it's a lot deeper than that. And, maybe they cut it up on the reunion editing floor, but it's a lot deeper than just he lied in this one instance. To me, after listening to her interview, it's more about her feeling like she doesn't know who the real Kendall is. Okay? She talks a lot about her past relationship. And I remember her talking about it a little bit here and there in the villa. And, I said this earlier this week on my social pages, where I feel like her reaction to Kendall saying, "I love you," was also a reaction that we just weren't expecting. Then we get this reaction from the reunion, and it's just not something that we were expecting. And I sat there and I thought, she has talked about how she had a toxic relationship in the past, and maybe this is triggering something for her, and she's projecting that past onto Kendall, right? And saying, "Oh, I'm seeing similarities in my past toxic 7-year relationship as I do with this new guy who I don't really know that well yet," right? They've been together for 2 months in a villa with no outside communication. And now you see this video and then you know that he lied about it. She might feel like, I don't know who you are. And my past is causing me not to trust who you're telling me that you are. Do you get what I'm saying, right? Now, I understand why Kendall lied. I think a lot of people understand why Kendall lied. Traumatizing experience. From the way that he painted the picture, Nicole was the first person that he talked to about it as it was happening. He doesn't even talk to his parents, his family, nothing. His phone is getting blown up. And I feel like when you are under that kind of pressure, with that kind of private moment blasted all over the internet, like, you might lie. And I said this too, where this lie to me isn't equivalent to, "Oh, I'm hanging out with the boys at the house," when really you're at the club with women. Like, they're two different lies. And I feel like he lied out of shame and guilt, even though he doesn't really have anything to feel guilty about. But I feel like his intent was not to deceive her. His intent was to protect her. Maybe. I'm just spitballing here. You can take it or you can leave it, right? But she also accuses him of being performative, where, again, I think might be a projection from this past toxic relationship, where she says, "Yeah, you asked me to fly out, whatever. And I know you did that just so you can bring it up here." And it's like, well, it's clear that you guys haven't talked. So you're then making an assumption, because you haven't had a conversation with him about it, that he's just doing it to be performative. So she says, "You made me out to look like the bad guy." I don't think he did that intentionally, but I actually understand where she's coming from here, because when you remember, when they came out of the villa and everybody was together, but they weren't seen together at all, everyone immediately said, "Nicole got the ick. Nicole realizes she doesn't like Kendall." It was never the other way around. So I saw a lot of people being like, "What hate did she get?" And it's like, you're not actively on her page. You're not in her DMs. You're not in her comments. So you don't know what kind of hate that she got. But that was really the sentiment that people were saying. "Oh, Nicole got the ick. She doesn't want to be with Kendall anymore." Now, we all feel for Kendall. Like, what he has gone through is just horrible in regards to the situation. I personally, and let me just say, I'm like not Team Kendall. I'm not Team Nicole. I think, me, Switzerland, they both have points and they can't work it out. So they shouldn't be together, which is like what happened. But I will say that I can't get a good read on Kendall either, which I think is a problem, right? I think deep down, it's not really about the video. It's not really about one lie. It's about this web now that is being spun, where I can't get a read on you. And how am I supposed to be in a relationship with you if I can't get, a read on you? So getting ready to go to bed last night, I pull up my Instagram. What do I see? What do I see on Instagram? Say it with me. Black background, white text. And we all knew. I'm like, she's either addressing the reunion backlash, because she did get a lot, because she did make it a little bit about herself in that moment. But now that we've unpacked it, I think you can probably understand a little bit why. I still think it was a little overboard. I do. I think that's not the moment to make it about yourself. Maybe do that behind closed doors. But I just understand her reasoning a little bit more now. But we see the black background, the white text. Kendall called me. He broke up with me. And then he posted not too long after that, yes, we broke up. Please don't send her hate. So don't. I think it's for the best at the end of the day. Andrea and Leah had a little beef, mostly for what Andrea said on her After Sun and Post Villa. And I was so clueless during all of this, because I didn't watch a single episode of the After Sun. I thought that was like an unwritten rule. We're not watching After Sun, right? I thought we all agreed on that. And also, once they leave the villa, I'm good. Like, I'm not really keeping tabs on your social media pages. I'm not like in there the way I was when they were in the villa. So I had no idea what they were talking about, honestly. But then Janae pulled out the transcripts and she's like, well, on July 15th at 10:08 p.m., you said she was two-faced. I would have loved to have seen more of that 4-page document from Janae just to know what was going on in there. But unfortunately, we didn't get much of that. So then we get to Aaron and Kayla, another huge blowout between the two of them. He tells her at the reunion, I kissed her, I snogged her, I touched her. And she's like, why didn't you tell me this 2 days ago? Stop love bombing me. It's like a tale as old as time between Aaron and Kayla. She says, I never want to speak to you again. And then I'm pretty sure I didn't listen to her interview on Amanda Hirsch's podcast, but I saw a clip where it was like, you texted him after the reunion. And of course, they didn't say the answer, but I'm like, that would check out if she were to do that. But, I think my overall consensus on Aaron and Kayla's relationship is that if my toxic relationship at age 22 was broadcast on national television, I would bury myself 6 feet under in the grave. You'd never see me again. That, or I would go into the witness protection program. I would change everything about myself. Like, you would not see me. You would not see Morgan ever again. So that's why I just feel like I can't be too hard on Kayla. And I just also think that Aaron has a lot of growing up to do. I think it was clear that he wasn't ready for a super committed relationship. I don't think he's a bad guy. I feel like he has been through the ringer on social media, and like, let's just not pile onto it. You can have an opinion. Talk to me about it. Don't talk to him about it in his DMs or whatever. But, I think he should have told her that in private. I don't understand that rationale, right? Where he's like, I didn't have the courage to tell you, but you have the courage to tell her on national television. And I don't know if it was one of those things where he's like, oh, she can't freak out on me on national television, but yes, she can. Did you watch? Were you in the villa for the past 6 weeks? Like, she will freak out on you. And she did. So we'll see. I have no hope that they're going to be together, get back together, smooth things over, because he lives in the UK. And I know he's trying to move to America. Newsflash, it's not that easy. I mean, he could probably get like one of those I'm a special person visas, which is like eye roll. But anyways, it's a lot harder than it looks. So I think maybe he should just stay in the UK for the time being. Then we get the fire pit scene. 13 minutes long. 13 minutes long. Wow. Didn't it just make you appreciate producers in reality television? Because like what you see in our episode, like 13 minutes of 6 people talking, 6 different screens. I was a ping pong ball, like just bouncing back and forth, having no idea who's talking, who's saying what. What are they talking about now? Are they talking about Nicole? Or are they talking about Andre? I was completely just lost, but they showed it to finally give context on whether or not Leah tried to take a backseat or did take a backseat in the Andrea vote, right? So I didn't get the vibe that she tried to take a backseat. I didn't get the vibe that she was driving the conversation. I feel like everyone pretty much contributed evenly. Liv certainly talked the most, right? Kayla and Leah talked a lot. Serena didn't really say too much, I don't think. But is it vindication for Leah? I mean, it depends on how you look at it. She never said she wanted Andrea to go home, but she did advocate for Nicole to stay. So you could make the argument sure, she wasn't sitting there saying like, let's get Andrea. But, she had an opinion. She voiced it on wanting Nicole to stay. So if that happens, who's leaving. Do I think it was deliberate because of Rob? No. I mean, like she said, that's not going to make Rob come crawling back into her arms. And her and Miguel have now gone official. So I feel like it all worked out the way that it should have. Liv apologized for taking the words and running with it. So we're just going to leave it there. Okay. A Love Island beef that I was not expecting post reunion was Daya and Ariana. Yes, Ariana Madix, the host. And it has to do with the fire pit scene. So I saw this clip of Daya online, and I don't know if it was a live or an interview or whatever, but she was talking about them watching back the fire pit scene at the reunion. Daya says, Ariana asks, can everyone raise their hand if you think Leah took a back seat? Obviously, nobody wanted to raise their hand because they didn't want to get all into it over again after they had just watched 13 minutes of it. But then, according to Daya, Ariana says again, raise your hand if Leah took a back seat. And allegedly, according to Daya, after nobody rose their hand for a second time, Ariana says, come on, guys, I've been on reality TV and I got treated way worse than you guys, and you guys need to pretty much get over it. Now, that is what Daya said. I'm sure she is paraphrasing what Ariana says. But then Daya says, this is not about you. This is Love Island. This isn't Vanderpump Rules or whatever show you were on, is what she says. And I was like, oh gosh, did she just kick the bee's nest? We might want to send some T's and P's Daya's way. But then she says, respectfully, as a host, you don't say what your experience was or that it was way worse or what we're going through. And then she's like, Love Island is a bigger show, is what Daya said. And I was like, oh my land sakes. So I just think in this moment that someone should let Lala know that Ariana does care about making good reality TV, because she asked the question twice and then yelled at them for not raising their hands. So just relaying the message. So what we didn't get, and this is what I would have really liked to have seen, we didn't get any Serena and Cordell. We didn't get anything from our Love Island winners. I saw more Pizza Hut boxes and Coffee Mate tubs than I saw Cordell on the Love Island reunion. We didn't get any discussion about Cordell bringing back Daya and how Serena was able to stand up for herself, but also give Cordell another chance that led them to winning the show. We didn't get any movie night reactions. Maybe why Aaron lied, even though he knew Kaylor would see everything on movie night or even post-show eventually. We got nothing about Connor and his beef with Janae. We got nothing with Connor and his date with Ariana's best friend, Katie Maloney. We never got the truth on whether or not Rob and Aaron had this little conversation about bringing Daniela back to the villa. We never talked about Kaylor having a conversation, phone call leaked on Instagram, right? Talking badly about Leah with her friend. We never got anything about Daya on whether or not she was commenting on Odell Beckham Jr.'s Instagram posts pre-villa. We didn't get anything about Kaylor and Aaron fighting so much on the reunion day that they delayed production by hours. Do I need to go on? I feel like what happened in this Love Island reunion is that they focused on 3 big moments for entirely too long, and we didn't get anything else. Think about how many things we could have got into those 13 minutes had we not sat there and watched unedited footage of people just blabbing. And essentially saying the same thing over and over and over again. So I don't know like why they dropped the ball, but I personally just feel like they did. And that is my opinion on that. Last but certainly not least, final thoughts this week. Let's talk about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 5 trailer that dropped. So all of the cast is coming back except for Monica Garcia. That means Lisa Barlow, Heather Gay, Angie K, Meredith Marks, and Whitney Rose are all back. And Mary Cosby is back full-time. I'm surprised by this. I'm not the biggest Mary Cosby fan. Sure, she makes for some interesting reality TV moments, But at the same time, like, I don't like when somebody hates to be there. You know, I'm like, it's clear that Mary does not like to do these cast trips or hang out with these women or whatever. She just looks like she's miserable the entire time. And I'm like, I don't think her comedic relief outweighs the misery. You know, that's just my personal opinion. But there is a newbie. Her name is Bronwyn Newport. She comes in as a friend of Lisa Barlow, serving some looks in Utah. I mean, one of the looks I saw, she looked like she was wrapped up in caution tape, but it wasn't pants. It was just underwear. And I think knee-high boots in the middle of Salt Lake City, Utah. Heather says that she doesn't trust her in the trailer. And honestly, after that look, I don't really know if I trust her either. But there are also some friends joining, Brittany Bateman and Melly Workman. So just looking at the drama on the trailer and kind of going through it, looks like there's some parenting drama between Angie K and Lisa Barlow. Meredith and Mary going at each other, which is surprising because, you know, historically they've been allies. And, you know, we see Meredith say, "You used me for 3 years. I got the memo." Like, what is going on with that wig that Meredith is wearing? The spiky, it looks like, was his name Skeeter from Doug? You guys remember the cartoon show Doug Funny, cousin Skeeter with the spiky hair? That's like what it was giving. But anyways, Meredith also says, "You shouldn't open up to anyone in this group, and I'm sure she can hear me now." And then you have Whitney like listening in on the door, and then she's like, "Oop, let me just skirt away here." Whitney also is seemingly going to have some issues with Lisa Barlow. Lisa tells Justin, Whitney's husband, "Your wife's a liar." Comes out on September 18th. Everything is coming out on September 18th. New season of Survivor, The Golden Bachelorette, and The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Everything's coming out on the 18th. I don't know why they do this to us. This trailer was getting some hype online. And also, like, I kind of just feel the same way about reunions that I do trailers. Like, they don't really get me as hype as everybody else because I know 95% of what's in the trailer is not depicted correctly or it's all dubbed together. And like 3% of it we won't even actually see. So I never really get too riled up about these trailers. But of course, you know, Monica not coming back is a big thing. I saw where she said somewhere that like they called her and was like, "Come back." But I don't think that she did. I'm holding my judgment on whether or not Monica should come back after seeing a couple episodes of this season. So we will see. Okay, there you have it. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week and rest of your weekend. Don't forget to leave the show a review. I think it's been like a month, so please, my ego needs it. A little 5-star boop boop, a little love you like assist if you have not done so yet. If you don't want to, I guess that's fine too. Just know that I'm PMSing, so if you don't want the wrath, do it. And I'll see you next week. Love you like a sis. Bye, guys.